All right, let's all come back together. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Let's spend a little bit of time demystifying some of the stuff that actually plays out in a student's individual career and academic plan, or ICAP. So in a couple of minutes, I'm going to give you in your building-based teams. So if you go back to the agenda, you'll see the breakout rooms. We're going to use the same breakouts that that Wanami had you jumping into during his part of the presentation. So this particular slide shows you a sample from the game plan at the high school level. What I'd like for the high school teams to look at is specifically just column B. There's a lot of information on there, so I'm just asking you to look at this particular column. Go ahead and hit the next slide. This particular slide is a snapshot from planning and possibilities. So this comes from the elementary space. So for the elementary folks, I'm asking you to look at column H, and it's highlighted on the spreadsheet. So Jordan and Shauna, if you could drop those two links in the chat, so that way individual teams can go a little deeper into that. What we're going to do here momentarily is I'm going to have you go into your breakout rooms. We're going to give you 5 minutes in that space to think about the data that you're looking at. And then we're going to ask you again on a different Jamboard, capture some of your thinking. Think about, what is this data? How would you leverage the individual teams that we've talked about, grad coaches, advisors, interns, and counselors? How would you leverage that? What does that look like? What are the pain points that we would need to think through? So that way, again, we can collaborate in this space together. Are there any questions? If so, put them in the chat. And then thank you, Jordan and Shauna, for dropping those in there. Everyone knows to go back to the agenda for the breakout rooms. It is 3:13. That means we would come back here at, let's say, I said 5 minutes, so I'm going to give you 6 minutes. So at 3:19, we will come back to this space. Fair enough?
And we are back.
All right, people are going to start wandering themselves back into this space. Thank you very much for taking some time looking at that information. And what I'm really trying to do is demystify what goes into some of the, or a particular part of a student's ICAP, and how can we utilize that information and that data, because that is our students' voice, to help us help them shape their successful future. So our team will definitely spend some time going over and looking at this information. Please, if there's anything you want to add, the slides will be available to you, as will the Jamboards, and we would love to have you add additional information as you're thinking through it. So with that said, I will simply say thank you and go ahead and hit next slide.
Okay, so bringing the puzzle pieces together. With that, we are going to let the graduation coaches take it from here. Next slide, please. Carter, if you want to take this.
Muted.
Oh.
I was going, y'all let me go too long too. So this is what we put together for our DDI day last year. We have a whole slide on it. I got some good feedback on it, but this is what has kind of changed as far as graduation requirements, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But It's what all student needs to have to graduate. And yes, ICAP is a process with that. A lot of individuals don't know that that's a mandate from the state, high school and above, but of course we do ours through the elementary, middle school. But what's different is students must successfully demonstrate competency in English and math. And there's a various amount of ways they can do that. What we do specifically at Vista Peak is we incorporate our capstones. You can do it a lot of different ways, whether through IB, AP, through the ACT scores, SAT scores with a certain metrics to hit. But there's a lot of ways you can do it, and we do look at the menu of options to guide us through that. And the bottom here you see is rules on track for engagement. This is a good guide where a student should be for their credits. I think maybe the next slide will go over the cores, but this is where a student should be at 9th grade, 6 credits completed. And of course, the last, you want to have 22 credits along with your cores. And then those proficiencies in math and English. And this is just for everybody to know, teachers to know if you want to scrub with the student like I do and what we do over at Vista Peak, along with the counselors, we really gauge where a student is at, and you can actually get their transcripts and gauge where they're at and how they're tracking. So this is just good information to have to see where a student is at and see where they're tracking, and then make necessary adjustments or interventions from there. All right, so that's the menu of options, and there's links in there. And this is we can actually send this whole presentation we did last year, we can send it individually to whoever needs it as well as a guide. And even if you want to utilize your grad coach to do classroom presentations over this information, this is something we did last year at Vista Peak, along with my head counselor. Well, this as well, we got a lot of good feedback and a lot of good questions, and it really did bridge that communication from me to the students, but also to their counselor as well, so they can really load up on what they need, what they might be missing, and just open that dialogue. So that's this slide. Can you go to the next one? Yeah, so this is the units of credits. This is how everything looks. And every place is a little bit different. Every school is a little bit different. Vista Peak's a little bit different as far as what they require. So this just goes over the English, math, social studies, science, history, pretty much the whole gambit for your 22 and what you need for your cores. But again, every high school might be a little bit different. I know Vista Peak is a little bit different, being that we're a preparatory school. So just make sure you know what's required, and this really help you guide where your students are at as well to make sure they're on track. So that's just a little overview over that. And what do we have next? So the next slide, I think somebody else is coming up. Okay, cool. This is you, Juan, I think.
I got you, Carter.
Yep.
So introducing some of the ICAP planning and a little bit of its structure. So it is mandated, but it is also like a multi-year process. And we usually talk about how we start early on with ICAP, and that's like literally and a little bit figuratively, because we start early within the first grade. And it's also part of the district strategic plan. And it's a goal for the schools and the grade levels to stream it into their 98 plans. So a lot of the ourselves, the CCS advisors, counselors, teachers, we're all part of the team to help students kind of think and get those conversations regarding what their future might look like, because a lot of students may not be having those conversations at home. So we kind of bear that responsibility with ourselves. And some of the areas that we go over with the students would be academic success, social and emotional development, which is super important, career and college exploration, resume building, financial literacy, and the game plan creation. And all of these tie into different things, like the resume are for high school students, and regardless if they don't want to pursue a bachelor's degree or if they don't want to go into the Army, or if they don't want to go to technical school, having those type of skills to apply for future jobs is vital. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so how I mentioned starting ICAP early on. So a lot of the elementary lessons are focused on critical thinking, personal awareness, and that's kind of a big theme throughout all of the ICAP planning, just because we want to put a lot of the power and decision making on the students. Us as teachers, counselors, grad coaches, CCS advisors, we're all kind of catalysts to those conversations that we have with the students. So that's just an aspect of that. Sometimes students and parents may not have a clear understanding of what the ICAP process looks like. So that's why we have this. I think Eugene had a question.
Eugene does, and it's about game plan.
What's
game plan planning?
Eugene, the game plan, that's one survey that we try to utilize or that we utilize within the high school space. It's a survey that students take, and it kind of gives us a clear understanding of what their decisions are going to be post-secondary. So the results that Dave shared earlier were based on the game plan survey. So when we're meeting with students, we can pull up the results and have discussions with them, whether if they're their senior year or if they're in transition from their junior to senior year, to see if anything's changed. If they decided that they don't want to go to college anymore and they want to pursue a technical certification, that helps us with those conversations. And then Kelsey asked, planning for the game plan surveys. Sorry. Yeah. So another bullet point that we have is comfort with change, and I kind of just covered that. Some students may be indecisive in terms of what their plans are, and that's okay. They may start off with one idea and halfway through the school year may have sparked interest in another field. And it's up to us and the students to have those conversations to help them connect them with those resources. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. So continuing ICAP conversations. So one thing that we try to reiterate and remember is that game plan or the ICAP isn't just a check mark. So it's continued conversations between first grade and 12th grade. So we all have a little bit of a responsibility to continue those conversations with the students and to remember that we can definitely help spark the interest in terms of finding new opportunities, whether if it's through career track, whether if it's through some of the career fairs in the high school level, or different opportunities in elementary school level. We're all a part of it. So connections and networks. So amongst all of us as staff members and co-workers, we have a huge resource. Sorry about that. We have a huge network of resources that we can share with students. An example I like to use, I have a pretty good friend that I went to school with. She is now working with the FBI, and we have a bunch of students interested in pursuing the FBI. So she loves meeting with students, setting up meetings with them, and talking through with them about some of the processes that they should think about. And that helps push the students into thinking that what decisions they need to make and what they need to pursue or don't need to pursue for their future goals.
And Juan, if I could just jump in for a second, Dave made a really good point that the game plan should drive a lot of the program development that is provided to students. And so what that is just looking over that game plan and knowing where each student is. So if you're going to meet with a student, you're going to want to look at that game plan so that way you're gauging their interest. And we all know we're human and we could change our interest at any time. And so just making sure we're asking those probing questions. I mean, I think I go back to example that I had where I had a student that was all about going into nursing, and she was going to start out with phlebotomy, and the minute she seen blood, she fainted, and she's like, oh my God, wait, I can't do this. And so how do you accommodate and re-engage the students? And so that really is a part of just working with the students, as well as, I'm going to take you back a little bit further where we were talking about credits, and just our graduation coaches can help do that credit recovery and talk to students about, hey, you're a little bit off track here. This is how we can re-engage you. And a lot of the conversation, sometimes you can re-engage them through the ICAP, and just thinking about the ICAP conversations. We're having a lot of those within the class. We're just not thinking like, we're not thinking about that. And so if we're having, conversations, which it should be daily, that we're having conversations with students about their futures, because that's why they're here, to develop the knowledge to be able to grow in whatever path they choose. I think that is really thinking about those conversations that we're having in the classrooms really tend to tie to ICAP. And so definitely can be a thought partner with ideas on how to discuss different ICAP plans. It doesn't have to only be by the books that we're showing or anything else. It really is just being specific to your students and their needs.
Yeah, I would like to add on that the game plan survey, the financial literacy, the resume, ideally, we want it to lie within your curriculum so it can be a natural flow. Because again, you do an activity or you do one of your lesson plans, and you can actually tie the game plan survey, the resume, if it's in writing class or whatever, or if it's in a math class. This is something we're doing at Vista Peak. We want you to be able to tie the survey in with what you're already doing. So the point is, you're already doing the work. You can tie the game plan and all the surveys into your curriculum for what you're already doing, and then make it an ongoing process as we start the development of long-term portfolios with ICAP. So that way it has more meat and is more meaningful if it's already tied into what you're doing. And that's the ultimate goal, and that's the objective of the ICAP, is to tie that in with what you're doing. So it's just not a thing to do, because in reality, that's how most teachers see it. And we don't want that to be the case. We want it to be meaningful and the students to be able to circle back and pull this data and reference it ongoing, even after, high school. So that's the main objective for the ICAP. Again, you're already doing it. So just find a way to fit it in your curriculum or whatever game plan you're doing, whatever it may be, you can fit that in. Just want to put that in there.
Next slide, please.
Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, cool. So I'm Juno Du. I'm the graduation coach for the South community, as I tried doing earlier, explaining earlier. But as Carter mentioned before, the menu of options, it's one of the newer additions that we're pushing onto this year, which we tried to implement last year, but due to the craziness that happened last year, we were able to push that along for this year. So starting with the class of 2022, the menu of options will be a graduation requirement. Like Carter mentioned earlier, there's a plethora of different options that students can choose from to show their competency in English and math, whether it be SAT, ACT, AP, IB, CE, capstone, IBCs, the ASVAB, or the work keys. Students can show their proficiency by scoring as the chart implies. And one of the cool things that the game plan survey allows for us to do is to gauge the student's interest. So if they're interested in military, or if they're interested in going to the workforce right after, or if they're interested in going to a post-secondary, we can direct them into a way that the testing option that they take to show their competency aligns with their future goals. So if you have a student wanting to go into military, an ASVAB would be a good test for them to follow up on. Or if they're looking to get college credit, they can show that through concurrent enrollment or SAT, ACT, or AP, or IB scores to have those transfer and roll over. So industry-based certificate, I'm jumping all over the place, but those are certificates that we award students as they go through the Pickens Technical College, and as they go through their curriculum over there and earn those certificates, they can also have competencies in English and math for those. So, yeah. Next slide, please.
Jessica, go ahead and hit next slide, please. All right, so just a few things for you to be able to access later. So there are some links here to the support directory, which is obviously already in the principal's playbook as well, the scope and sequence docs. So there are a couple of things. I won't go into depth on these right here, right now, because we have a separate breakout session Monday afternoon and Friday afternoon, Monday morning around our scope and sequence docs and the updates that we've done in elementary, middle, K-8, and high school. So we'll go into more depth on what the ICAP components look like at each of those grade levels in those breakout sessions. Whilst I have you here, just a teaser, but for those of you who are in the high school space again, we did get an extension to our concurrent enrollment expansion and innovation grant. So that was a grant where we were able to send or pay for our some of our high school teachers to get certified to become adjunct instructors in English and math through CCA. And so then they are able to teach those college courses within our home high schools or their home high schools. This year, the grant has been approved and we are moving into the space of social sciences. So anything history, political science, humanities, ethnic studies, etc. So be on the lookout for some information on that to come. I will be sending that out to you as building leaders first, but then we're on a fairly tight timeline on that. So that'll be sent out across the system. And then finally, my last piece is for those of you who are like, I get it, I am all in, and we are looking at how we can expand and make the college and career planning and ICAP process a little more robust. Well, have I got an option and an opportunity for you? We are looking for some ones who want to play in that creativity sandbox where we are going to start looking at the development of digital student portfolios. Carter mentioned some of the actions and work that's going on out at Vista Peak Prep, but there's also been some work in other buildings already last year. So if that is something that you are intrigued by, and this isn't a high school thing, this goes all the way down. We actually had one of our CTE teachers out at Frontier. She actually did this with all of the students last year, and it was a really great experience. And so for those of you who are looking to expand and take it to that next level, this is, yes, it was Gwen Moore. Thank you, Gil. We are getting ready to ramp that effort up, and it's going to take off pretty quickly. So get in on the ground floor. Got to sell it while it's hot. Alicia, is there anything you would like to add?
No, I mean, again, that digital portfolio piece is super exciting because you get to build upon it. So from first grade, kindergarten, whatever it is, you're going to continue to build all the way up until your 12th grade year, and you look back on your little self, and it's pretty fun. So that's exciting. Just really appreciate everybody being here and taking the time to listen to our presentation for student success. And we're just, really excited to be a part of this team.
And I believe Yolanda and/or Jenny, there's something there's something that you were wanting to throw out there. There is one more slide. Yes, the survey. Please complete that survey at the link that's found below. It's actually also linked on the agenda. Thank you all so much. Hopefully we have given you the information you need, and we are here to support you in all that you need. Jenny, Yolanda, anything you want to add?
Yes. And if you allow me to share, please, and thank you, sir. Everybody's getting nervous in the service because Yolanda's on at 4:45 or 20 till 4. Don't you worry. Don't y'all worry one bit. I feel your energy. So speaking of that energy, that's funny, right, Juan? I know I get all nervous because I think I talk too much. Can you guys see the slide deck? All right, so with that, Come on, y'all, oblige me and you'll get up out of here sooner than later. Go on and stand up, stretch it out, hurt yourself or nobody else for that matter. Jojo, I want to see you doing the one with the leg on the foot, like the lady on the bottom of the screen here, or her foot on the desk. So, right, Angie? Stretch it on out, y'all. Stretch it out. It has been a long 2 days. Thank you, Jason. Stretch those fingers. Or not really. Get up out of that recliner and stretch it on out. I see you. So, and y'all can unmute and let's just enjoy the noise of one another. That is wonderful. But please do stretch it out. Look away from the screen. Blink those eyes. Rest the eyes. Do what you got to do. But it has been a great 2 days. Lots of positive feedback already. And yes, we know it's been long. Yes, we know it's been content heavy. So you don't have to put that in the survey. We know. But here's the cool thing. We have responded to the requests that we have been receiving year upon year, right? Like, we don't really know all of the amazing folks that support us, or who do I go to for this? And I have this dynamic with parent engagement or with our new students, refugee student or what have you. And so, or what's the new curriculum? I don't remember. What was that training I missed, right? So all those different things. So look, we just removed all those barriers and it was a lot. And you're going to go process and rewatch these recordings, and we'll get these on the playbook here in just a little bit. The recordings are still downloading, but they're on their way. But I really feel like we met the objective. Okay, so accelerating the learning and improving outcomes for every student by deepening the execution of the instructional infrastructure through the utilization of all these amazing district resources, tools, and supports. So you guys should feel, Allison, you feel that, don't you? I know, I see your face. You feel it, right? You guys should feel this army of support, all of these amazing resources. You know more now than you probably ever did. And y'all, guess what? There is more to come. So if you were worried, if you were one of those people that like, is that all? Is that all y'all got? No, we got some more for you. So tune in for the next 2 days and every month, of course, doing Lead and Learn, because we want to make sure that you all feel supported. We also, as Jenny mentioned to us yesterday morning, are just thrilled to reground ourselves in coherence across our system. We have read every ounce of feedback about the left hand don't know what the right hand is doing, right? ESC2, why are y'all doing something so different than ESC1? We hear y'all. Yeah, you think we're not paying attention, but we are. I know it, JoJo. So anyway, yeah, we are paying attention. We are doing a better job. We are connecting. I have seen and connected with like Christy more than I have in a very long time, and other folks, Mark Seglum and Patty and other people. So we are getting on it. We have our principals advisory committee up and going again. So yes, we hear you. So bring the feedback today. Give us something. All right. So no, I'm messing with y'all. I love y'all. Thank you. I do just want to point out this framework here, in case you can't read that. It is one of the infographics, page 2 of your new book. Jenny put a survey for you on the agenda. If you need one of these books, let us know. We will get it out. But I love the focusing direction, this top left corner there, because it says focus is not just a matter of having, nope, that's not the one I wanted. That's hilarious. Sorry. Which one is that? With all the hands. Sorry, infographic number 6. There are many different ways to proceed with the coherence framework, but remember to participate as a learner, working alongside others to move the organization forward. One Aurora, we have to come together. Okay, so keep giving us that actionable feedback. You're doing your part, we're doing our part. We are coming together to make something absolutely phenomenal happen for our students, their families, and our community, guys. We are doing this together, and it's so exciting. So let's just keep it moving. Jenny Klein.
Thank you. So again, just wanted to thank all of our leaders for hanging with us today and hearing all of the great resources and from all of the amazing people that we have here in our district. We just again want to say thank you to all of our facilitators and all of our leaders, all of our APs, everyone who joined us. We hope you have a lovely, lovely afternoon. And just a reminder that the choice sessions start tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So make your choices about which sessions pertain to you and which ones align to your current context. And we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If there's any questions, pop them in the chat before you leave.
Survey, survey, survey. All right, y'all. That's for you, Dave, with your disco ball. That's the best I could do. Brittany is like, somebody get her off the screen, please. Amy's with
Thank
me.
you,
All right.
Have a great afternoon.
Yolanda, I need you. By me.
I'm here for you.
Beside me. To guide me.
Miss Greer, is there another survey for today, or is it just one from yesterday?
Oh, sorry. It's at the top of the today's. You'll see it under today's date. There's a survey. It says daily survey on the agenda.
Great, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Wait for it. Come on, Alicia, don't be shy. Enrique's like, where is the leave button? I got to get out of this.